Every few years, a movie transcends its usual theatrical release and becomes a full-on cinematic event. Think Avengers Endgame, Avatar, Titanic, Jaws. But in a year packed full of big-budget blockbusters backed by existing IP like Indiana Jones, The Flash, Transformers, or even Ant-Man. Or good movies like Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians 3, Avatar 2, and Mission Impossible. Amidst all of those should-be hits, it is truly astounding that the Barbie movie, a film centered around one of the most recognizable children's toys of the 21st century, and Oppenheimer, a film about the man behind the atomic bomb, both share the spot of Movie of the Summer. Not individually, but together, becoming this once-in-a-lifetime double feature event called Barbenheimer. Today, we are going to be diving into how this Barbenheimer thing even came to be, the wild marketing behind both of these films, as well as experiencing Barbenheimer for ourselves, and then by the end of this video, reviewing both films individually and as a double feature experience, and ultimately, seeing how this roller coaster of emotion and cinema alters my brain chemistry. But before we get started, I just want to say, thank you for watching. The support on this channel truly means the world, and I am blessed to the buns to have such a wonderful community as you guys. Without further ado, let's get into Barbenheimer. The name Barbenheimer, as coined by Kate Cohn, a social media manager out of Washington, D.C., has gone on to become the unofficial official name of this cinematic holiday that is July 21st, 2023. Combining two drastically different films, Greta Gerwig's Barbie and Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Though the term Barbenheimer has become synonymous with this double feature event at this point, the buzz around the decision to release these films on the same day has been going strong for some time now. Now, there are a number of reasons why this decision is really significant, especially seeing that both of these films are drastically different in aesthetic and tone, to the point where you'd think that these films are in direct competition to each other. But this perceived competition was amplified by the rumors that Warner Bros. Secretly released Barbie on the same day as Oppenheimer as a big middle finger to Christopher Nolan for leaving Warner Bros. For Universal.
I thought what we had was special!
Now, studio politics aside, the star-studded casts of both films have not only acknowledged the Barbenheimer event, but embraced it, with stars like Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, and Cillian Murphy all weighing in on the Barbenheimer trend. Whether it be their preferred double feature viewing order, or why they believe the event to be beneficial to both films, and even film itself.
I think it's just great for the industry and for audiences that we have two amazing films by amazing filmmakers coming out the same day. And yeah, you spend the whole day in the cinema. What's better than that?
Even actors outside of the two films, like Tom Cruise, have weighed in on Barbenheimer, even endorsing it, taking pictures with both tickets, and explaining how the event could be beneficial to cinema, especially theater attendance as a whole. Ryan Gosling especially seems to be having the most fun with the Barbenheimer trend, and just Barbie's marketing in general. He just seems to be having a blast. But here's my favorite clip.
They're kenning all over the place. They're kenning all over each other. They're kenning everywhere. And they're kenning so hard that they're gonna ken themselves blind if they don't stop kenning.
But most importantly, despite the film's different tones and aesthetics, both of them seem to be painstakingly and passionately made films. With Barbie, you have this insane attention to detail, with the costumes, the set design, the casting, even going as far to cause a national shortage of pink paint. With Oppenheimer, you have the same thing, with this insane attention to detail, with the casting, the sets, the costume design, with Christopher Nolan innovating to the point where he literally created an entirely new kind of film with this black and white IMAX. And even crazier, the entire film reel is said to be like 11 miles long, which I can't fathom that with my human brain. But both of these films are being released on the heels of just a summer of these product films that feel less like they were made with intention by directors with these creative visions, instead feeling more like they were made in a boardroom by money-sucking, out-of-touch corporate types. And let me just say, this is not to the fault of the hard-working and often overworked crews, actors, or directors behind any of these films. Instead, to the fault of these ghastly CEOs completely detached from the creative vision of these films. And it shouldn't be a surprise that movies made with the explicit purpose of capitalizing on pre-existing IP or just making a boatload of money in a society and industry that insists on sucking every last bit of color and creativity out of the medium, if it means 1 more cent to those at the top, turn out to at least feel shallow, usually ending up to be, pardon my French, total balls. On a lighter note, this marketing juggernaut that is Barbenheimer has been noticed by casual moviegoers and film buffs, with Oppenheimer having one of the most tense trailers I have ever seen. Every single time I'd see it in the theater, I'd be gripping my chair. And I love how it maintains the mystery of the film while also sort of cluing you in to what you're getting yourself into. And then Barbie undoubtedly carrying the marketing with a countless amount of tie-ins, toys, trailers, and even an architectural digest of the Barbie dream house. The first Barbie trailer in particular was genius in that it paid homage to Stanley Kubrick's A Space Odyssey. So immediately showing audiences, this is not some shallow corporate movie, it's a film. And it seems with every new trailer Barbie would release, Oppenheimer would trend as well. And of course this was amplified by the countless memes surrounding both films, either poking fun at the target audiences, talking about the order in which to watch both films, even what to wear to each film. Sort of reminiscent of the trend of dressing up to go see Minions: Rise of Gru.
Together, we will steal the moon!
With countless articles and videos talking about what Barbie and Ken are wearing in every single shot of the film. Now, me being a fashion head myself, I've been eating this up. I've been carefully curating my Oppenheimer and Barbie fits ever since I knew that they would be released on the same day. Hey guys, Editor Orange here. I know this has become a sort of running gag of me forgetting to say something while recording, but in this case, some footage has been lost. So, to make up for that, here's some Subway Surfer gameplay and some context. I'm about to give what I believe to be the true Barbenheimer double feature viewing order. But yeah, that's about it. This has been another edition of Editor Orange. Thank you so much. Back to the video. Seeing Oppenheimer first for the depressing gut punch of a film centered around the implications of the atomic bomb, and then see Barbie, the bright and colorful pick-me-up of a film centered around Barbie and Ken having an existential crisis, questioning what it means to be human? Then, by the end of the video, giving my review of each film individually, as well as reviewing the entire Barbenheimer experience. But with that being said, let's go to the movies. Cinemark. We're gonna get the Oppenheimer experience. I'm gonna feel the bomb. We're gonna get nuked. This movie is gonna destroy me. I can feel it. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm very excited to watch the Horrors Man.
Joshua, what do you think about Robert J. Oppenheimer? Do you think he's gonna... And after spending a small fortune on snacks and drinks, I think I'm finally ready to start my day off with a bang. See you guys in 3 hours. I just saw Oppenheimer. That was 3 hours of getting punched in the brain repeatedly. But like, not many movies I can say I've walked away and have changed the way I've looked at the world and movies, and that was a lot. It feels like by the end of it you're walking out heavier than you were, and it's very good. Don't pat your stomach, Jessa. It was a lot. I'm depressed. After 3 hours of complete devastation, I'm hoping that I leave Barbie a changed man. Hopefully a happier one. But with that being said, see you guys on the other side.
It's okay.
Hey guys, I know, before you say anything, new background, what, huh? No, this is my childhood bedroom I'm recording from as I'm at my parents' for a few weeks, but I digress. Before I talk about the film itself, I'd like to talk about my very unique theater experience. So due to a scheduling conflict, I sort of screwed my friends and I to front row tickets of Barbie, right? Yeah, woo, whoopee, front row tickets. So of course I go into the movie pissed because I've never seen a movie in the front row before. I have no idea what this is going to be like, but I know it's not going to be good. But after a while, I stopped caring because it honestly made for a funnier viewing experience. So as I'm sitting up in a front row, breaking my neck, watching the movie event of the summer, right? I realize it's pretty much just like watching a movie through your phone in 0.5 mode, or just watching it through a fisheye lens. So everyone in the film has these gorilla-like proportions, with like these massive Popeye forearms and like these massive chins. Like anytime Ken was on screen, I could swear I was watching it through like a Chad filter. And I'm just gonna put this up on the screen, but this was my view. This is what I was looking at for the entirety of the film. And obviously this was not the way the movie was intended to be viewed. I did get that experience the following day, watching it again with actually good seats. And one other thing that just made me laugh was there's this moment very early on in the film where Barbie starts questioning her mortality, and there's like this record scratch, like, and the characters and the audience go silent, except for this one kid sitting like 3 seats to my left, who just turns to his mother and goes, "Mom," and like the fear, like the palpable fear in this kid's voice. It was just. But anyway, Barbie is directed by Greta Gerwig and co-written by her and Noah Baumbach, and stars Margot Robbie as Barbie, as she navigates an existential crisis, questioning her place in our world as well as her own. Now, as soon as I found out this was going to be one of those movies where, fictional character visits the real world, I was immediately worried, because my mind instantly goes to those horrible CG character live-action hybrid movies like Hop and The Smurfs. And I really didn't want it to just be like, oh my god, we've got to get Barbie back to the real world. Oh my god, or else the rifts in time are gonna... Yeah, I was scared. But let me tell you, I am so happy that I was so wrong. They used Barbie's interaction with the real world in such a clever way, managing to give some great social commentary in the process, which I'll get to later. But it sort of reminded me of Toy Story. Though the Barbies do not look like toys in this film, they are being played with by real people. And you get to see the consequences of that in Barbie herself, as well as other characters. Like, there's a character by the name of Weird Barbie. It kind of pokes fun at how most Barbies just end up this mangled mess with, like, burnt hair, like, drawn face. And Barbie and Ken's interaction with our world is where most of this commentary comes from. In that Barbie realizes that things are quite the opposite of the way things are in Barbie Land, in that men rule everything and women have second say, if any. And Ken falling in love with this power he feels in our world, and what he thinks it means to be a man, eventually taking what he's learned from the real world and converting all of the Kens into these, like, douchey frat guys, resulting in this, like, hostile takeover of the Barbie world. And while all of that is undoubtedly funny, it brings some really insightful commentary on toxic masculinity, and by the end of the film, a beautiful message on healthy masculinity that I honestly was not expecting to get from this film. Who knew that the words, "You are Knuff," would genuinely make me cry? And while there are more rich and impactful messages directed towards women, especially regarding their struggles within a patriarchal society, what it means to be a woman, and even what it means to be human, but the biggest thing that sets this movie apart from the other IP-backed big studio films is that I'm actually going to remember it, because it's actually trying to challenge the audience and teach them something. More akin to something like the Lego Movie, in that it actually cares about its audience and wants to elicit a genuine emotional response. But to touch on the acting, both Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling kill it, with Ryan Gosling being the comedic anchor of the film. And that's saying a lot in a film with SNL alums like Kate McKinnon and Will Ferrell. Not to say that Ryan Gosling isn't hilarious, but we don't get to see his comedic side that often, and I wish we did more. The musical numbers in this film, specifically Ken's song at the end of the movie, "I'm Just Ken," this is not hyperbole. I have listened to this song unironically to an unhealthy extent since I've seen the movie. Both Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were born for these roles, to the point where I think Margot Robbie could be nominated for Best Actress, and Ryan Gosling could secure Best Supporting Actor. Maybe Best Original Song, though I think that could go to Billie Eilish's What Was I Made For? But if I related to any character in this movie, it was Michael Cera's Alan. Deep down, he's one of the girls. Beyond the acting and characters, the set design and the costumes. The costumes. I would wear everything that Ken touches in this movie. Hell, if Alan isn't throwing fits too. I do think Greta Gerwig has made better movies before, but at the end of the day, to see a movie this summer with such a grotesque amount of money and branding behind it turn out to be really good and leave me with something to think about, that's all I could ask for. I'm gonna give Barbie a Ken out of Ken. And not really, it's more like a 9 out of 10. But the joke still stands. Oppenheimer is written and directed by Christopher Nolan and stars Cillian Murphy as the titular dude himself, exploring the life of real-life scientist Robert J. Oppenheimer, otherwise known as the father of the atomic bomb. With the film following his life leading up to the Manhattan Project, him actually doing the Manhattan Project, and then the aftermath of that. Now, I haven't reviewed many movies on this channel so far, but Christopher Nolan, while not one of my favorite directors, merely by stylistic preference, is one of the few people left in this money-obsessed Hollywood hellhole that I feel actually gives a damn about film. And as pretentious as it sounds, it's true. And what I love most about this film, despite its covering of the Manhattan Project, the bomb isn't the focus of the film as much as it's Oppenheimer and him wrestling with the implications of bringing such a powerful force into the world. Cillian Murphy uses his piercing baby blues so damn well in this movie that the entirety of the marketing for this film was just pictures of Oppenheimer staring right down the barrel of the camera. This man acted his ass off with such subtlety that at times you're feeling like you're watching a documentary. I could seriously see this getting him at least some Oscar buzz, probably a nomination, and I really wouldn't be surprised if he flat out wins Best Actor. But I can't talk about the acting in this movie without touching on the stacked supporting cast. Every single person in this movie has an Oscar, a nomination, or at the very least, some insane talent, with the most talent coming from Devin Bostic, lest we forget about Roderick Rules. Seriously, everyone in the movie's fantastic. Even people who just like hang out in the background most of the movie and have like 3 lines. You're like, holy crap, that's the guy from that. Well, okay, he's gone, bye. With Florence Pugh and Emily Blunt being standouts in this movie. But without a doubt, the best supporting actor in this film, or at least my favorite performance, came from Robert Downey Jr. This man does so much with what little screen time he has. He is chewing up every single scene he's in. And he said it himself that he was worried he had forgotten how to act after playing Iron Man for so long. But Mr. Jr., if you're watching this, do not fret. You're fantastic, okay? You did amazing. If I had the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, I would make you and Ryan Gosling wrestle for it. And speaking of Iron Man, this film is like the end game of white male actors. So the Academy is obviously going to love it. But enough about the acting. The direction by Christopher Nolan, as always, is fantastic. As is the cinematography. There are some striking images in this film. And there is a scene in this movie that left me haunted. You'll know it when you see it, but it hit me like a Mack truck. Every single conversation in this film felt like an explosion itself. And that's important when 90% of your movie is just people talking. But another thing I really appreciated in the film was being able to be in the mind of Oppenheimer as he dreams up what he believes to be this miracle of science, but also be in his head as he's wrestling with what he brought into the world. The one thing I'll critique is something that's become sort of a meme with Nolan's movies, and that's the sound mixing. I will say it's a lot better here than like Tenet, but the glorious score will sometimes just completely drown out what the actors are saying, and I feel like I'm watching the Peanuts. I can't understand. But for having a 3-hour runtime, this film moves at such a brisk pace, because you're covering so many major historical events and important moments in Oppenheimer's life that I did find myself playing catch-up a few times throughout the movie. Like, there are so many characters in this movie that do such important things, and they'll come and go. Like I'd be like, oh my god, it's the guy with glasses studying how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Oh, okay, he's gone. But that wasn't as much of a problem as much as it's just something I noticed, just a nitpick. And this movie tackles some heavy themes of grief and regret that left me shaking and crying and pissing by the end of the film. But Oppenheimer shows how quickly innovation and discovery is used for destruction and evil, because apparently we all humans hate each other, and this movie kind of makes me scared to go outside. With that being said, this movie was the bomb. So I'm giving Oppenheimer a 9.5 out of 10. Now, to review the Barbenheimer Experience as a whole, I gotta admit, I did this wrong. My mother taught me not to eat dessert before the main course, but boy, was she wrong on this one. Watching Oppenheimer before Barbie was like throwing up in elementary school and then being forced to finish the school day. I just felt sick and exhausted to the point where not even the likes of Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling could cheer me up. But seeing these films back to back in a packed theater, seeing people dressed up for Barbie, and seeing people leaving Oppenheimer just complete husks was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Now, I am really scared that studios are going to look at Barbenheimer and see dollar signs. After seeing both, I can say that the pairing of both of these films is so specific that I have no idea when we're gonna see something like this again. And maybe it's better that way. Not everything needs a remake, especially a unique theater experience. Go see Barbie first, get Kenified, then go see Oppenheimer so it can properly marinate. But that's about it for this video. I had a lot of fun making this, arguably the most fun I've had making a video in a while. This might also be the biggest video I've made, maybe ever. So I just want to say again, thank you for watching. I've got a few more videos I'm working on, but if you'd like to see me review more movies, leave a like or let me know in the comments. But before we go, allow me to thank the very gracious people over on Patreon. I want to give a massive thank you to Septennial, The Rock Farmers Co., and Fancy Pant One for supporting the channel. It really helps a lot and I really do appreciate it, as it makes the dream of doing this full-time all the more real. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, consider subscribing. If not, hopefully I'll see you around. But that's about it. As always, you are Knuff, and have a bodacious day.